Well, we're taking it easy and we're feeling fine. Put a little stitch in here on Island Time. If you get in a hurry, well, it's not a crime. But won't you come and join us on Island Time?
I love holding this smile for like an exorbitant amount of time. It just is so nice. Hi y'all, welcome to FlossTube. My name is Mallory Bosse. This is my mom, Lori Millsap, and together we are stitching on Island Time. Today, here on FlossTube, we're going to be talking about all of the cross-stitch crafts that we have been doing in the last 3 weeks or so, since our last episode was apparently about 3 weeks ago. We're calling this episode Spring on Island Time because, my goodness, I feel like, of course, it's the spring season, but I feel like we are leaping into a season of life here. We've got a big family vacation next week in which we are all going to the actual island. We will be on Ocracoke. And so my whole family is super excited by it, and we are as well.
Yes, we cannot wait to actually be on Island Time.
Yes.
That is, 15 years ago when I started my quilting business, Island Time Quilting. That was why I named it that. I had just gotten back from a trip to Ocracoke, and I was wearing my brand new lime green on Island Time t-shirt.
Nice.
And I'm trying to come up with a name, and I went to the restroom and I was washing my hands and I saw myself in the mirror and I went, you know what? Island Time is the perfect description of what quilting and now stitching feels like when you are in that flow state,
Restful,
yeah,
meditative.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just fixed on whatever it is you're doing, not thinking about anything else. Time passes at a different rate. We really don't want me to get started on time because that's one of my big hobbies, is the idea of linear versus non-linear time.
Right.
So,
and one of the reasons why we're filming this FlossTube now rather than on the island is because we don't want to have to transport all of our sound and lighting equipment. We'll absolutely shoot a couple of short videos while we're on the island that we can share with you on our next FlossTube, along with pictures, that sort of thing.
That sounds great.
But we have a fun quilt to show off today.
Yeah, so we'll get started with the quilt that I have been hinting about for 2 months now. This is the Square Up quilt. It is a brand new free pattern on the Fat Quarter Shop website. It was super fun to make. Really fast. I told you last month I chose Fig Tree fabrics, Fig Tree & Co. from Moda. Joanna Figueroa's fabrics are some of my favorites. I have lots of quilts that I have made from Fig Tree through the years. Between Fig Tree and Bonnie and Camille, and now Camille Ross Kelly on her own, and a few other Sweetwater, a few other designers like that. Boy, those are just my favorite. I am a Moda girl.
And the colors are so great together.
Yeah, and they're my colors. I just love the corally oranges, and the reds are softer. And anyway, so this is Square Up. There's not much more I can tell you about it from last time. That I will put the link to the free pattern on Fat Quarter Shop in the description box. But also, you can buy a kit. They've put together a collection of fabrics. So if you don't want to, just pull your own. But it's such an easy quilt to kit up yourself. It only calls for 12 fat quarters. And so, you probably have a fat quarter bundle you've broken at some point that you can get 12 from. For me, I did choose fat quarters that were more concentrated in color, because you want them, like, see this white is sort of the exception because I wanted the floral, but see how it fades into the background a little bit. I almost used a beigeier background because Fig Tree has their own Moda solid called Fig Tree Cream, which is not a white. It's kind of a more beige color.
And that way you wouldn't lose those hard lines.
Right, and that's a trick. If your prints have a lot of white in them, if you'll darken darken your background, sometimes that'll make the difference. But in the end, I went with Motabella 200 because it's just the perfect match for these fabrics. So I love it. It's a sweet little quilt. I quilted strawberries on it. You can't see that from here, but maybe we'll put a close up so you can see the little strawberry
really
panto that I did. I had done a quilt a few years ago that I quilted the same strawberry panto on, and I gave it as a gift. And after I gave it away, I was like, oh, now I need to make myself something I can put strawberries on. And I just haven't. I haven't found anything because it does quilt fairly densely. And I'm not always about a dense quilted quilt, especially if I want it to be something for the bed.
Right.
And I rarely make quilts this size. This is nice. I feel like this one I'm going to hang on to. I'm probably going to hang it over the back of my bed. I've had a snowflake winter quilt up there year-round for maybe 3 or 4 years now.
But it doesn't read as wintry.
It doesn't. It's the right colors for my room, but it's got snowflakes quilted on it. It's very wintry. And so anyway,
Wow.
I'm going to change that. And I think I'm going to put Square Up there.
Easy enough, right?
So that's right. So that was a fun one.
Oh yeah, so that was our quilt of the day, and we're going to move into, we've actually finished a lot in the last couple of weeks.
We have. I have one very special finish, and I'm not going to show it at the beginning. So we'll
She's
focus.
such a tease.
I
You'll have to
know.
hang out with us.
That's right. You'll have to be here for a few minutes. Oh, and you know, by now you've seen how long this video is, so
We appreciate you sticking it out with us.
that's right. Take breaks. It's fine.
Make sure you've grabbed your stitching so that you can sit, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this if you haven't already. But we have so many things to share.
Okay.
Do you want me to start? Or do you want
I
to start?
do. I want to see your finishes on this round.
Well, I showed my beautiful Henny Penny bag the last
love
time that
these
we were
bags.
here, and suggested that I could stitch on the other side of the bag. Well, I did.
Yeah, it doesn't take her long to do these things.
So this
Here, I'll hold
is
it up for you.
Spring by Shepherd's Bush, and the accompanying buttons came from Just Another Button Company. Is that right?
That's right.
Mom had all of the buttons, and it was kitted and ready to go. So I just pulled out some pearl cottons I already had and just got to stitching. It was a lot of fun. I did it mostly in the car one Saturday while we were running around and doing shopping as a family. So these kind of bags are such great car projects because the holes are nice and big. You can just put it down whenever, zip it closed. It holds its own materials.
That's my favorite part of them, is that they hold their own materials.
So incredibly portable.
But how fun is that now that she's got a spring chicken bag?
This is spring chicken.
I mean,
I also, when I started working on this, was not perfectly centered. And so I added just a little bit to the design. So over here on this edge, to make things centered, I added a little black chicken and a little red chicken, just like the flocks that I have. And this little extra bit of flower and a little butterfly, because I love butterflies.
so great. And yes, when you are a creative person and a designer like Mallory is, you just add extra things in if you need
It
to.
needed it, you know?
Yes.
It needed something to go over there.
Yes.
It was bothering me that it wasn't centered.
Sure.
A little.
Yeah, and nobody's going to do that again. That's not happening. You're not pulling it out. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
All right, well, that was my first finish.
What else have you finished?
Ooh, okay. This one is not what I would consider to be fully finished because I am planning on adding cording. So this is my Crow Librarian. This pattern is by Fine Frog Stitching, and my gosh, you guys, look how cute he is. It was really hard for me to put him down. The painterly style with all DMC floss was really enjoyable for me. I don't normally stitch that way, but gosh, I loved working on him. And isn't he just dapper? He's so handsome. I finished him on just a piece of matting board that I put batting and then wrapped my fabric, laced it up, and then did the same thing with some plain cotton quilting fabric on the other side and made him into a little stand-up because I just think he needs to go on a bookshelf.
And so she did the whole idea that Helen D teaches about being able to put a little
place card holder
to give him a little foot there. And she even remembered to put like some packing tape inside there so
that it slides in easily and
Right.
doesn't snag on my stitches. But he was so much fun to finish, and I've got some colors from his palette that I'm ready to make into cording that I'm just going to wrap around the entire perimeter. And then I think he's just going to be done, and he'll sit on my bookcase and keep me company while I'm stitching other things.
That's so
He's
fantastic.
just so cute.
Yes.
Anyway,
And this-
Librarian.
This is just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
He's so handsome. Oh, stitched on dirty pirate fabric. This is 18 count Ada.
Yeah.
Suppose I should mention that.
From Barefoot Needlework.
Yes.
So dyed by Barefoot. Yeah.
It was so much fun to stitch on. Just beautiful. Okay, I have one more.
I want to see it.
Okay, do you have any fully finished?
I have one.
Oh, right, but you're going to tease us.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm going to show her later.
Well, that's fine. You can tease us.
Okay.
All right, this one you guys know I've been working on, but it is finally fully finished. This is flea market flower baskets, and this is a fat quarter shop design that Mom had started several years ago and had only done the very center medallion and then the pieces of gingham that break off from the medallion.
It's a Lori Holt design.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is a Lori Holt design. And she had stopped there. And when we were going through some, abandoned projects, I saw it and the colors just spoke to me. So I said, can I finish that? And it was so much fun to stitch. I got off a little bit because I'm not super competent when it comes to working over two. So I did make a counting error right at the beginning with my border flowers. And so there was like a little gap on one side and then a huge gap at the bottom. I took all those flowers out and restitched them because it was not even. And so it bothered me. And if you want to wonder how even things need to be, let me show you how I laced it. Can you flip it around? There we go. I love lacing. It is therapeutic. And so here I just use normal cotton crochet thread. What weight is that? Do you remember? It comes on a big spool. You just grab an arm's length at a time and a nice sharp needle so that you can work back and forth in each direction and then bring your corners together. It's complete and ready to go in a frame. The frame has been ordered. I'm so excited. And in the meantime, I've had it just stuck up on the wall, sitting on top of some thumbtacks because it's too pretty not to display. It's just so pretty. So I'm really happy with this one. And this is because it was started by Mom and finished by me. This is by Stitching on Island Time.
There you go. It's a joint project. I like that.
It's a joint project. I love that too.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
All right, but I do believe that's all my finishes.
Well, it's actually a relief to me that some of the things that I did in 2021 and 2022 when I was still stitching on Ada or Lugana are appealing to Mallory to finish. I've told my children repeatedly that no project I start is their responsibility to finish, even if it's a craft that they do. Right. Because I get most of my enjoyment in the process of stitching, and a finished product is bonus, but not necessary to my enjoyment. Mm-hmm. So, and nothing I start is an obligation to anyone else, and I won't be taking any of it with me when I go. So it can all go to some craft recycle store or, anywhere. I don't care. Although you'll get a nice hand-me-down of flosses probably when we're done. That's for sure.
That's true. And I did lie. I have one more finish.
Oh, good. I want to see it.
Because I finished it yesterday, so does it even count? It's not a fully finished object.
Okay,
it is
just
simply
you finished the stitching.
A finish. So in this beautiful bag by Lori Millsap.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, you did.
I have been working on what I've been calling the Big Black Project, which is just this massive piece of 14 count black Ada on which I have been stitching Fungi Garden by UnaBuenaPieza. And guys, look at it.
Look at this. Oh my word.
I'm definitely going to have to get a nice picture to go on to the FlossTube for this part because you really can't appreciate all of the variation in the stitching here, but it was so much fun to do. I got a little bit of a hang up when I got to the third page. This is a 6-page design. But when I got to the third page, I made some counting error. I don't even know how I did it. And knew I'd have to take a lot of stitches out and was frustrated, so she went into timeout. Well, while she was in timeout, I did other things. You saw a few of them. And finally, I was like, I'm going to start page 4 on the other side and work my way back over to where that counting error is on page 3, and I'll figure it out from there. Well, I finished page 4, got all the way back over, and discovered at some point, Mallory took those stitches out and put them in correctly. and I blacked all of that out. So I don't have any memory of doing that, but I got over to my error and went, wait, where is the error? Wait, no, it's right. Wait, why is it right? And I really do think that I may have rage unstitched and restitched and then forgot about it. So, but
Rage stitching is a real thing.
rage stitching. I'm glad that I black out the rage stitching, honestly. If that's going to be something that I do, I would rather not remember that. I want stitching to be peaceful and fun because that's what it should be.
Yeah.
But,
and you know this is a fun stitch when she said, I actually think I may stitch it all over again.
yes.
So that each of my children have one and they don't have to fight about it.
They have already begun arguing over who is going to get this when I'm gone. I'm 35. That's not cool. So I do think that it would be fun to stitch again. It's just lovely. And it's so happy on that black fabric. Those colors just really pop.
I think you should choose a different UnaBuenaPieza piece.
There are lots of gorgeous designs in this very style.
Helen D is doing the dinosaurs, and it's really fabulous too.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. I'm not sure yet. Obviously, I've still got masking tape on the edges. I haven't done anything to this guy yet, but this one will get framed for sure.
Yeah, and it's so great that we can now order custom frames the way we want to.
I do love that.
So, that's
yeah, who told
fantastic.
us about that?
Yeah, so when I show you my fully finished in a few minutes, I was going to talk about this, but we'll go ahead and talk about it now. So I finished a piece, and I'm going to show it in a little while, and it definitely needed to be framed. And Chris, the camping stitcher, is, we've been friends for a couple of years now through Instagram and Facebook and now FlossTube. And so I just messaged her directly because Chris has a video on how she measures and orders from art to frame. And she's a big fan of art to frame, which is an online frame ordering business, and you can order custom frames in any size. And so I said, I just don't know how to measure, and what am I supposed to do? And Chris,
Help me, Chris. You're my only hope.
Exactly. And so Chris not only answered my questions, but she got out her laptop and she shot a little video and pointed to each part of the screen that I needed to enter things into and where the different, like subtext is to tell them you don't want glass, and to tell them that you want the foam core backing instead of corrugated, and all of the things over and above, over and beyond what she needed to do for really, truth is I'm kind of a stranger, right? I mean, we think we all know each other, but we don't until we accidentally meet at a retreat sometime.
But on FlossTube, you hang out with all these people all the time.
Exactly.
What do you mean we don't know each other?
Of course we know each other. Anyway.
But that was so sweet, Chris. Thank
It was
you
so
much.
great. So we immediately ordered a frame for Mallory's flea market flower baskets. Our flea market flower baskets. And now we have it figured out.
Yes.
Like it's going to be easy to order from art to frame. And it, came perfectly. Everything's great. I'll show it to you in a few minutes. I'm going to use my book of days because since we filmed last, and I can't believe I didn't write in my calendar the date we filmed because I always do that. But since we filmed last, I have been stitching like a maniac. And
Maniac?
Yeah, I've been calling it mania insania, but I don't actually plan to get into all my mania plans. I'm just going to talk about today. Oh, we didn't even say that. Today's May 8th, and I've started 8 things this month. So, but let's go back in time to before Crazy Lori started everything. I was doing Springo in the month of April. And Springo, if you didn't watch our last video, it's this really great variation on the Whip Go kind of idea where you picked 7 projects, each one associated with the letters of the word Springo, and then built what would be like a bingo board that you randomized the 35 numbers on. And then Carolyn Zook, C. Zook Stitch, called a different number every day for days 1 through 25 of April. So you had 25 calls, 35 numbers. So you weren't necessarily, and clearly you weren't going to do a blackout in those 25 days, but probably a bingo in a single area or a springo all the way across,
all
maybe
7?
all 7. Yeah, no, I got nothing. I worked on 5 projects 4 times each. I worked on one project 3 times and one project just twice. And then nothing bingoed out. So I had no bingos.
Bummer.
But oh my goodness, I chose 7 projects that are on my WhipGo boards. So they're going to come up later in the year. Only one did I double up. It was actually a WhipGo call for April, and I did it in Springo. So it really got its, a little progress made on it. But it was super fun, and I got so much done on those projects. So I'm just going to start. I actually don't have them here in Springo order, so I'm just going to tell you what letter is which. This is Stacy Nash's Big Chicken, Little Chicken. And I've been working on Big Chicken, Little Chicken Pin Keep. It was actually an earlier in the year WhipGo call. And so earlier in the year, I had gotten the complete finish of the top of the
Big Chicken.
Of the Big Chicken. What I hadn't finished was this border.
Because
so
the whole way around.
Right.
And it's like mattress style.
I didn't finish it. This one only got called 2 days. This is the in, by the way, in Springo for Nash. And so I really only added a little bit of additional white on this border. I picked it up, I put a strand in. I didn't set myself any rules for Springo. Like, as much as I could work on it in the morning, that's what I did. So the 2 days that this was called, I made a little more progress. I'm going to keep it out. It's nice to have a small, and I did actually also add a little more to the border of the little chicken
side. Yeah.
So, whenever I have some time, and I put this in my chicken bag, of course, because,
Naturally.
This is how you know what's in there, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, my next project, I have in a bag from my friend Carol, and I moved this. This has been in a Christmas bag, and I thought to myself, perhaps that's part of why I don't ever work on this, because I've decided it's a Christmas project, even though it's less Christmassy than,
It's really not Christmassy
It's
to me.
This Happy Morning, it's called. And I worked on filling in that barn. I got a lot more of that barn filled in, but despite working on this for multiple days, and this may be the 3-day project, I still didn't finish that barn. So
It's so much fill work.
It's so much. And, but I did move it into this beautiful bag of French General fabric so that I will pull it out more often. But I started this project in 2022. Oh goodness, and here it goes. And this is how you know. So this is the look at this mess of floss I've got to work from. So that's part of the challenge. I was bobbinating, and it's a mess. But anyway, this is This Happy Morning from Plum Street.
And it's gorgeous, and it's going to be so beautiful finished.
It will be.
And you made good progress.
Yes, and it was the kit from the Homespun Needle Arts Needlework group on Facebook. And, I just have been plugging away. This has got quite the story, because this was my first piece on 36 count linen. So I basically went from working on Lugana to working on this, and was
there a learning curve?
Oh, big time. The first thing I did was put the border on in the wrong orientation, so it wasn't the right way on the linen, which is not a square, it's a rectangle.
Oh no!
And so I had to take all that out, and then there were several. I think I took the border out twice, and then started making some headway.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was.
But 36 count.
But 36 count. And now 36 count is my go-to for when my eyes are tired and I just want to rest. That's my leisurely stitching. So it's, just
That's insane.
2 or 3 years worth of practice. Yeah. So
I do want to mention that I'm turning 36 on the 25th of this month.
Yes.
And because
We're
I'm going to
excited.
be 6 squared on 5 squared.
And we are so nerdy,
We're
y'all.
very math nerdy. Don't worry about it. But I decided to celebrate. I would try my first ever 36 count linen project.
And did you bring it to show?
I did.
Go ahead, pull it out.
Oh, yay.
We'll take a break.
This is from Heartstring Samplery. Beth Twiss has designed this gorgeous little chickadee who is just precious.
Okay, so this was another kit that I had bought from the Homespun Needlework group, and it was untouched. It was still perfectly beautifully in. Like when Chris, the camping stitcher, pulled hers out and worked on it last year, I think, I was really tempted. But I had other things going, and then the next thing I knew, she had hers finished, and I was like, all right, fine. I'm not going to work on that right now. I mean, I'm very much a stitch along kind of person. But so anyway, it was great. I gave it to Mallory, and look at that.
I got a good start on my little chickadee.
What do you think about 36 count? Is it hard?
It's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I think I'd worked it up in my mind that it was going to be, you know, so much more challenging, but it's kind of like stitching on Lugana even weave, you know, and I've done a little bit more of that recently too, so I felt more comfortable with it.
I think it helps. This is Vintage Country Mocha.
Yes.
So it's a Zweigart base that's not over dyed. You know, I think probably your next step would be to try over dyed linen. You know, after you do a few on a plain Zweigart, because like Zweigart mushroom is a beautiful color. There are a lot of just plain Zweigart ground fabrics that I like a lot.
I did want to mention though, one of the wonderful things that Beth Twiss does in this pattern Hope song, she mentions that there are multiple breeds of chickadees native to North America, and she charted 4 additional breeds of chickadees so that you could choose one of the 5 versions, whichever one you want to stitch, and then all of the floss that accompanies it. I mean, just lovely.
Isn't that great?
I took my DMCs and did put them on a bobbin, but did it floss drop style. So I used a
so
hole
that
punch.
makes it easier for you to pull one strand.
And
so
then
you're
I've
doing
got-
this with one strand on
I'm
36.
doing one strand, and I've got Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and DMC, just using a little bit of everything.
And I know you prefer a loop start. How are you liking the one strand? Is it-
honestly, I'm just starting it the same way I do my Henrietta, where I just fold over my end and work it under my row stitches, and it's fine. I definitely prefer a loop start, but for something this fine, I didn't want to try to do 2 strands because my first time on linen, I really need to
it would be super puffy.
make it easy for myself.
I mean, a lot of people make decisions based on coverage, whether they use 1 or 2. I have a project on 36 count that I'm using 2 strands of Vicky Clayton silk, but the silk nestles in a little more. And the weave of the linen was a little loose, and the coverage, it's a Teresa Kogut, so it's really solid stitching, and I wanted it to very fully cover.
Yeah,
so.
I'm also using a hoop, which I don't normally do.
Yeah,
you can tell how uncomfortable I am by the fact that I'm using a hoop.
A hoop is a great way, if you're just trying to learn to use linen, putting it in a hoop makes a difference. It holds everything taut.
Yes.
It opens up those holes just a little bit more and makes it easier for you to poke and stab.
Yes.
You know, like, and even I use a hoop now with a little looser bounce, and I'll still use sewing method with it in a hoop just to manage the fabric, just to help me hold it.
That's fair. Sure. I am very much enjoying it. I've only spent 1 morning stitching on it so far, but hopefully I'll be able to get some more progress in on it because it's just so cute.
I guess Mary Gibson is actually one that was called only 2 days. So I don't remember. Maybe that other one was 3. Because what I do remember is the only thing I accomplished on Mary Gibson, which was the G in Springo, is that I added these little pink tips to these flowers just for fun. And I started the alphabet because I wanted to see what that bright red color was going to be. And look, I left a loaded needle, which I almost never do because I fully intended to come back and finish that B and maybe put in the C, and I just have not gotten back to Mary Gibson's alphabet. But, you know, she's gigantic.
She's a big girl.
And she is going to be a fun one that I work on for a long time. Mary Gibson is by Whilst Iris Naps. You can download the PDF at Christina's website. I was looking because I've added a new chart from Christina to my whip list. I was looking at how many stitches are in this, and it's about 40,000. It's pretty close. It's not quite as large as Sparrow, but it's very close.
His eyes
to
on the Sparrow.
His eyes on the Sparrow,
Okay.
which is about 50,000 stitches. So
Mercy.
I know. And then this bag, because I was doing Spring Go, I smushed 3 Blackbird projects that were the S, the R, and the O of Spring Go into one bag. And I think that means I didn't remember to pick up the I. No, it's in here. Okay, good. It's in a small folder. So I have progress on all 3 of these. First up, this is Sweetheart's Delivery, and it was the chart that we received at the Dying to Stitch retreat. It's part of the Walker Sisters booklet that has not been released to the public yet. But it's this sweet chart that has the little blue house, and I brought the border all the way over, border down. I added all this black, and I got most of this center. The middle basket here is satin stitch, so I'm leaving that to do later. But I got a lot of the rest of that middle flower basket in, and so I was pretty pleased with how much I got done on that one.
And it's beautiful.
And then this is the one I got the most work done on. This is called My Heart Can Rest by Blackbird. And I was so pleased. I mean, I'm pretty much halfway now on this one. You can see I finished out the border beyond. I did this whole basket. I did these flowers up. I started putting in this leaf. I mean, and I got a lot of these little background things in. I was really pleased. This one was one that definitely would not have been touched if it hadn't been a Spring Go assignment.
Right.
Because it
yet,
just wasn't on my radar.
Spring Go brought it out.
That's right. And then again, this one is on my Whip Go board. It has not been called yet. It's from the Ooh La La book. It's called A Bit of Spring. And I love this piece.
I love it.
I worked on a piece.
What fabric is this?
It's XU Design, and I think it's marbled hazelnut or something.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But I got the alphabet finished across the top. I got the I, the P, and the Q in place, and I finished all the border. So I was missing like 3 flowers, I think, before.
Too bad it's not ITQ.
I know, right? I almost did that, but anyway.
Time quilting.
Exactly.
That's what that's.
Yes. But I was very pleased with how much I had gotten done. I love, love, love working on this. These French letters are super fun.
They really are.
And I really want to do everything in the Ooh La La book. I just haven't.
There's just so much to do.
There's so much. So I enjoyed having these 3 together in one bag. Honestly, it's quick to grab. Like if we decide to go on a 3-day trip or something, I can grab my Blackbird. All of them, I think, are on 36 count. And they're all, flosses that I enjoy working with. And so that was really nice. And I zipped that right next to my microphone. So if you got earbuds in, I'm sorry about that. I didn't even think. I automatically zip them closed because with 3 in there, odds are I'm going to lose a pack of floss at some point.
They'll just tumble.
This is my last Spring Go, so I'm getting through these pretty fast. I was worried. I made a ton of progress on this one.
And it's so pretty.
So this is Plum Streets. This I know. I love it. And if I had remembered it, it would have been in my whip parade and would definitely have been a whip that I intended to work on in 2025. I didn't find it until closer to the end of February. I don't remember what bag it was in, but I ran across it when I was trying to kit something else up. And so I said, oh, here it is. I'm pulling this out. Maybe I'll get to work on it. Oh, I put it in this Easter. How great is this?
I love the binder. It's so
I
good.
put it in this from Julie Just Sews. But anyway, It's lovely. I got this flower done, this star done. I completely finished the church all the way up to the steeple. Started laying in some of these background things, and I actually started, there's another spray
of flower
of
something?
tree.
Ah.
The tree up here I still need to do, and then the sun, and then obviously I'm leaving Jesus Loves Me for the very end, just because. So when I started this chart, again, probably 2023, it came out at market in 2023, and I started at the bottom here with the sheep because that was just my favorite bit.
And a whole lot of grass.
And a whole lot of grass, that's right. But I love this chart. I love it, and I'll definitely pull it out and work on it again this year. In fact, now it'll get called for Whip Go at some point.
Nice.
So that was really my intention with Spring Go. Like I said, I doubled down. Sweetheart's Delivery was a Whip Go call for last month, and I did it also as Spring Go. But I thought, well, this will give them a little bit of a head start, kind of get me in the mood for working on them, and I sort of picked the ones I wanted to work on.
It's a nice way to double dip, like to say I needed to work on this anyway. Now I have an extra reason to work on it. And so then you've allotted yourself a little bit more time. Yeah. That's awesome.
And so I did do Whip Go as well. Sweetheart's Delivery, of course, got Spring Go'd. I did not bring my Whip Go's in because they each only got a couple of strands of floss. I was not, because I did Spring Go and because I got fixated on my next piece.
That fully finish that she keeps teasing about.
Right. I got so fixated that it was an obsession that I would do Spring Go in the morning and then I would do the next one all evening. And I did it every evening, and I did it so much. I started really buckling down and working on it on April 8th. My husband went last month for a 10-day trip where he cut trees after one of the tornadoes that had come through Mississippi. And so he was gone, which meant I could stay up a little later and nobody would say, "Aren't you coming to bed?" And so I did spend a little more time stitching in April, I think, because I was kind of left on my own. I mean, the whole family's here, so it's not like I was all alone or lonely in any way, but I did get a little more time stitching. So let me pull out the chart. This is Anne Hunt, is what I call it affectionately, but it's from Girl with the Gavel Stitches, and in case the lights are glaring, I'm going to pull it out of the bag. They are. It is a PDF download from Chloe Wood's website. Maybe it's Etsy. I think it's a website though. Anyway, Girl with the Gavel Stitches. You can search it and find it. Go to Chloe's Instagram, and I'm sure you can find the link. The actual title is A Present to Anne Hunt from Ellen Hunt Walsh, 1855. And I fell in love with it. And I don't know why. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but there are a lot of beautiful reproduction samplers in the world, right? I mean, I have a basket full that I'm going to be working on all summer long. But this one, from the minute I started stitching it, first of all, here are the colors. It is a collection of Belsois silks. And so they are over-dyed, variegated, magnificent colors with the softest hand, softest feel. I mean, just absolutely, truly glorious colors. I probably should have combed them before I started showing them, but look at this palette. So the main colors in the border were Poison Apple and Creme de Menthe, which I decided were probably, oh, here it is, probably my favorite colors of all time. I just, once I started stitching that border, I could not stop stitching it. It was, you know, easily memorizable. And so I just kept going. So anyway, without further ado, here we have and hunt. Now, I did some adaptations and I want to talk about them. So I stitched it on 40 count sleeping bear because that was a fabric that I had in my stash. With the belle soie, I loved this border. I loved it. And so I started at the top doing the border, coming down the sides, went ahead and put in these flowers, that bird, the carnations that this bird is sitting over. They're so confetti full and so many colors in each flower, but the effect is just magnificent. And by the time I got down to about 3/4 of the chart, I realized the things in the picture that I had thought were black were actually just dark green, and that there was blue and there was dark green, but there really wasn't any black in the chart until we got down to this little dog and the lady's hair and the writing. And I felt like the black would be kind of stark with what I had going on at this point. And so I showed it to Mallory and I said, I don't think I want to use any black. I think I'm going to not put black in my version. What color do you think I could do the works? And so she suggested blue. I think it's the perfect solution because it's dark enough to be different. Like I was actually thinking I would do it in the darker green. Enchanted Forest is one of the colors in the chart. That's the black, the green, dark green. And I thought I would do that, but with the border being so much red and green, I went with Mare Blue. So Mare Blue is what I ended up doing. And then the other thing that I had decided pretty early on, and I say that, but it's over the course of 2 or 3 days, right? Because I'm just stitching so fast and furious on this thing. I decided I did not want to put the true reproduction dedication. Not because it's not beautiful. I mean, it's such a sweet idea that, a mother and daughter, that a daughter has stitched this for her mother, and I thought that was a great idea. But, I thought, well, I don't know the Hunt ladies. They're not members of my family, and that it would be a really great idea if this were a piece that my granddaughter wanted to have in her home someday. And so I, at the same time, we spend too much time on social media. Someone on social media posted that she was working on the One Generation sampler from the 1980s that she had found in her stash. And it had this scripture from Psalm 145. And I thought, that is perfect. It says, one generation shall praise thy works to another. And I didn't put Psalm 145 or anything there. I just put that phrase, and I charted it with the same alphabet. So I took Ellen's alphabet and any letters that she had that matched what I was charting, I used that style. Including, I added these extra little 9 patches. That's what I'm going to call them. They're just little X's, really. But she had included some little extra separators between, between her words. And so I added those as well. So then when I'm not going to use any black, the girl in the center is not going to have black hair. The dog is not going to be black, which is fine because my granddogs are all blonde. So I went with a blonde dog. I hadn't even noticed that there was a bird in her hand until I got close because it's so close to the ground fabric even in this picture. But, so I didn't mind that it was a yellow bird, and I didn't mind that it was a yellow dog, and I didn't mind that it was kind of a yellow rabbit by her feet. So, and then when I did her hair, I did it in sort of the grayish, color, and thought, we don't know if she's old or young, but this sagebrush color is sort of, she kind of has gray hair.
Gray hair or platinum blonde.
Or platinum blonde. But
I love that you can read it either way.
Yes.
So it can seem like she's from one generation or the other, depending on your point of view.
Absolutely. So Then what I loved is after I finished it and begged Chris to talk me through how to order the frame. So this frame is 10 by 11 and a half, which is a strange, but the finished piece on 40 count was 9 inches by 10 and a half inches exactly. And so I have plenty of border here. Then once the piece arrived, I pressed it one more time and I handed it to my finisher here who loves to lace. And I said, would you lace this for me? And she said, sure. And it took her, I don't think it took 10 minutes. She was so fast. So fast.
I don't think that's right.
And then art to frames, because I had already ordered it and messed up, I ordered the corrugated cardboard back. So Mallory put it on mat board with batting and laced it. And then the corrugated cardboard still fit, which is great, covering up her lacing on the back. And Dennis handmade the little hanger in the shop. He went out there and whipped that up. So that made me really happy too. So
Everybody got to help.
everybody helped. So one generation shall praise thy works to another. I was so pleased with it. And I never do this, okay? So there's something to be said for that hyper fixation of falling in love with a project and just working on it till it's finished. I worked on a lot of other things while I was working on this. This was not my only project for those days. But I wrote down, because I was so impressed, that on April 8th, I stitched 906 stitches. And then I didn't work on her again until the 11th, but I did 1289. And on the 12th, I did 1059. Now on Sunday, I only did 39 because I worked on other things and we were busy with church and I didn't do many, but then it was 740, 655, 482, 416, 490, 803. And that last week, the last 3 days I worked on her, it was 1,000, 1,300, another 1,000, and then I finished her up. So 1,000 stitches is a lot of stitches in a single day for me. And it was not the only project I worked on.
Right.
So I did more than, I probably did more like 1,500 stitches each of those days. But I was going to bed thinking about working on this, like angry that I had to sleep and then I was getting up early. So
Right.
I do love that we have some projects that speak to us that way, that we can work on until we finish. I'm never going to be a monogamous stitcher. No. Never.
Hilariously, we were in the middle of one of our spring Mingle group sessions where we were talking with other stitchers, and someone had just said, oh, I'm never going to be monogamous. Monogamy's for the birds. As my husband walked in. That was hysterical.
Oh, that was a pretty good line.
That was hysterical because his
Yeah.
eyes, he just went... And I said, no. And he said, no, it's okay. I know. They're talking about cross-stitch.
It's fine. That's right.
He's in on the lingo. He knows.
That's
It's
right.
fine.
Yeah. Well,
I think what she needs is a card on the back.
yes, that
That
tells
talks about
some
this
of this
journey.
story.
Yeah.
That I have not done that yet. And I do have some of those great Lori Holt library cards. So
Yes.
I will, and I may put paper. The art to frame cardboard though is probably sufficient to protect it.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
So, and I am so far have not been putting glass on anything.
Because you can see the stitching so much better this way. It doesn't press your stitches flat.
Yeah, well,
With the
I mean, they
glass.
usually do spacers and people do museum glass. I think the difference is that, none of these are my original designs. None of these are things that I care if they survive multiple generations. This one, though, I do love it. And I'm so happy to have it on the wall. And unlike all my other pieces that hang on a wall kind of behind my head, I had Dennis hang this one across the room for me so I can look at it. So
Part of the reason for that is you're running out of wall space back
well,
there.
only because I have a quilt up. I can take that quilt down. I'll have plenty of room. So one more time, because she's beautiful. This is Anne Hunt, but Lori Millsap's absolute adaptation of Anne Hunt, and I love it so much.
It's so pretty.
Yes. And please know, yes, definitely go get this pattern from Chloe, because it's
having a PDF and being able to
Beautimous.
track the exact number of stitches you've done is always impressive to
Oh,
me.
that's true. Now, see, I did bring it into markup. So I want to talk about markup for a minute, because when I was organizing my samplers earlier yesterday, I was looking at which samplers I have to work from a paper chart and which samplers I have in markup. And I pretty much have a 50-50 split with the ones that I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
And even the ones that I have in markup, because we have a new printer now and it does a pretty good job of printing in color, I'm trying to print color copies of them so that if I'm away from my iPad,
or if it's otherwise occupied.
right, or if it's run down, because that's the challenge, is, you know, it doesn't hold its battery life
Hit
forever.
0 battery and then you're up a creek.
Exactly. So anyway, that's yeah, that's what I've got going on there.
That's fantastic.
So that's pretty nice. Okay.
That was Springo.
Yes, that was Springo plus Ann Hunt. And I did that. I finished Ann Hunt on April 24th. So I had put a few stitches in on her the end of March. I started her for real on March 30th. On that Sunday. I worked on Sparrow that day, and then I thought, you know, I think I'll get a few stitches in, because I had gotten the silks in the mail from LindyStitches the day before. And it's really funny because I have another whip that I was working on that's similar, with a bird in the center with florals done in silks. I had ordered the silks from Vicki Clayton, and you know, it's something just captured me. Something about the Belle Soie and the way they work from those cards. I don't know. Anyway, I started it on March 30th. I only did 221 stitches that day. And then again on the 31st, I did 725. So I got about 1,000 stitches in, which is what I like to do with a new start. Like, that's not unusual.
Right.
That I would do 1,000 stitches, fold it up and put it in a bag and not think about it again for a while.
Except she was haunting you.
Except, that's right, I was not only going to be thinking about her for a while, I really thought about her. Okay, well,
It's really fun when you get a project like that.
it is. What did you work on next? I've been going on for a while now.
Oh, you're good. Well, I showed the things that I had worked on and finished, but and I've started Hope Song as of yesterday, which is the one with the chickadee. But the other one that I've been actively working towards is my quilted witch.
Oh, I love that.
So this is in a bag by our lovely friend Carol. I've got a matching thread bed in here, but I actually got way more stitching done on this than I thought I would. I picked it up and just decided to carry across the whole broomstick and get that laid in. My poor cat is a headless fellow, and I haven't finished down here obviously, but I started with this little star and just 3 patches of the skirt. So I've spread my way down, filling in the ground with the stars and quilted blocks for the skirt. And it's just been a lot of fun. My little needle minder looks like it matches the black cat above there. And all of my floss is fun and on its rings. And then here's my little thread bed that matches the bag. This has been super handy, and I keep my needles right here. So I've got 1 active, but I've got 2 more right here. So this has been my grab and stitch, mostly in the evenings, because I find that working on this Prem even weave is just easy for me. Like I work in hand and I can just scoop up the
is
stitches.
it 25 count or 28 count?
I think it's 28 count,
Okay.
but I'm not entirely certain.
Yeah, I'm not either. But it's really great. Now, is it?
This says 25 count.
Okay. So it's 25. That's one of the reasons why it's so easy to work
Sure.
on, because it's bigger than 14 count.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, she's going to be a biggie.
She's got a feisty little boot over there.
Is that as wide as it is, or is there something on the side of the broom?
No, it ends here. So the broomstick pretty much describes the whole width.
Is the width.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've got plenty of extra then. That's great.
I probably shouldn't have done a center start. I probably should have.
No, I think
the math better.
Well, I think it takes most of a fat quarter, and yeah, so
I'm very much enjoying it though, because the palette is very diverse and all of the colors make me so happy.
it's beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels weird stitching it completely out of season, however. So I pick it up and I do a little bit and then I go, Yay.
Yeah, you do need a spring something going,
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
you?
it's got enough bright colors that I can trick my brain for a little bit, but
Yeah.
I am a bit of a seasonal stitcher.
Well, when I finished Ann Hunt, I did keep working. Like, I worked on my whip goes for the month, which, by the way, I did not bring in here at all. Like I said, I just did a little bit on each of them. I was sort of in that post-giant finish letdown a little bit, so I wasn't stitching as furiously. Like, I just wanted to rest in the knowledge that I had finished a piece in 3 weeks, you know, which is really amazing for me. So instead I started a quilt. So I've pulled out some fabric and I've got a quilt laying next to my sewing machine in there. I'm not done piece and blocks, but whenever I can, I sit down at the sewing machine and work on those blocks. So that's a fun feeling. Hopefully I'll get that one done. And so then I was still kind of in that letdown mood. And Dennis had come home and he said, "You want to go to the beach for a couple of nights?" And I said, "You know what? That sounds great." So we loaded up the Airstream and we went camping for a couple of nights. And I grabbed the projects that I had kitted to take to Ocracoke and took them with me because, you know, we went to the beach 2 weeks early and it's awesome. So I had gotten this great bag from Tiger Lily Designs. I am now in her Keeper Club, which I had never been in before. So this is my very first Tiger Lily Keeper.
It's so cute.
I love it. It's, you know, Tula Pink. What's not to love? So bright and wonderful. And in here, I put a couple of beachy designs. The first one I chose to start was Beachcomber by LindyStitches. Now, this was the week prior to the spring Mingle, and so I kind of wanted to get a start on this. It's so cute. It's only 109 by 188 stitch count, so it's not going to be gigantic. I'm stitching it with a floss conversion that I pulled that are mostly color and cotton. I ended up having to stick in a single weeks dye works that I needed a lighter blue, but I just had pulled a bunch of beachy colors hoping I had enough to do what I needed to do for this from my color and cotton stash. And this is a piece of millennial fabric robin egg. And I got started on it while we were on our trip.
It's so gorgeous.
And it's very sweet. I love the
I
colors.
love it on the blue.
I do too.
Because the model's just on a
Yeah,
neutral
the
ground.
model's on raw linen, and I like working on raw, and I started to get some, and then I was like, no. And Steph actually stitched her whale with a dinky dye silk to make it really bright and blue, and I kind of went with a blue whale that's more, you know, blue whale colored. But I'm really happy with it, and you know, I started in that corner, and I chose colors that are called things like bracken and starfish and battleship and abyss and coral reef and seaweed. You know, so those are some of the colors that I have, but my whale is actually wishing well is the color, and I told Mallory because, you know, here in the South that would be wishing whale, so that's my wishing whale. And so anyway, it's a nice adorable variegated blue, and I just really liked the colors of it. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with Beachcomber. It's super cute. I'm going to take it to Ocracoke next week and continue working on it because all things beachy are how I'm spending my summer stitching. I am not in a patriotic mood this year, so I am going to stitch beach things. And I think that's a great way to enjoy the summer months.
Yes.
And then in the same bag, I added the Sea Apple stitching bag by A Gardener's Needle. Now, Susan Robity is who designed Ducks in the Orchard, which I don't have to show you again today because I've done nothing. But this stitching bag is amazing. I'll put a closer picture of this cover so that you can see, because it has Adam and Eve mermaids on it. okay? I could not, I mean, the minute I saw Adam and Eve mermaids with a coral tree and an eel in the tree, I was like, okay, yes. And I enjoy this idea of a stitching bag. Sean, Periwinkle Stitcher, has done those bags from Stacy Nash, and they're just so adorable when they're finished that way. And this is Susan's design. Now, I did this on a piece of Vicki Clayton silk. Now, no, linen. Vicki Clayton. See, those three words go together. Vicki. I always say Vicki Clayton silk. This is Vicki Clayton linen.
She's dyeing linen now.
If you didn't know, you need to go check Vicki's website for her linen. This particular color of linen is called The Wind Lies.
I love that.
The Wind Lies. And it's just a bright golden yellow, and I thought it would just be a beautiful accessory bag. It's one of my favorite colors anyway. But for all of these beachy colors, they just play nicely off that yellow. The coral especially is going to look really nice on there. And such a significant part of the tree is of the
bag is the tree of life.
is this tree. Yeah.
Underwater tree of life?
Right. Coral.
Whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, it's coral. Anyway, it's so pretty. And so I pulled my own colors based off the colors in the chart. A lot of weeks, a little bit of Classic Color Works, a little Color and Cotton, a little Gast. I've got all of them in there. So anyway, I love them. I used my new little bling from Tiger Lily's bag, and I am super excited to be working on this. And it's so much fun to stitch. This is 40 count, but I am thoroughly enjoying the chart. Is easy to read. I kind of want to give you a sneak peek.
The little crab.
Look, I'm peeking this so you can see. Look at that. I mean, it's just big.
Nice,
it's
big,
in
easy to
color.
read.
All of Susan's charts that I've had are that nice.
I love the little octopus.
I loved him too, and I love the little crab. Yes, like
And
putting
this
in the
plant
little detail.
motif really reminds me of a Little Shop of Horror.
Yeah,
In a big way.
yeah,
You
kinda
know,
has
feed
that,
me, Seymour.
Yeah,
It's
has
got
that little bulb. Yeah, like a sea cactus.
Yes, it's so cool.
Yes.
I love it.
Anyway, so I have these two very beachy designs that I am going to work on Ochre Coke. While the ocean resets my soul next week. So, and in my Tiger Lily folder.
It's beautiful.
Next up, this is Agnes Cairns. Here, I'm gonna pull her out of the bag too so you can see. Agnes.
The glare is
And I'm gonna call her Agnes Carnes. I don't know if that I makes a difference in how it's pronounced, but it's from Hemlock and Rye. This is the piece that was chosen by Karen of Fox and Rabbit for her birthday start. And so we started that. Her birthday was May 6th. And we started this just the other day. I actually got an early start on it because I jump the gun always on things. So, but I love it, and I am stitching mine. Well, that's a good question. First of all, I have the Vicki Clayton silks.
It looks like Dirty Teacup.
No, I think it's Inca. I think it's Fox and Rabbit Inca. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I did because I felt like I needed to stitch it on a Fox and Rabbit fabric. The first thing I did though, I had a fat quarter. I did the math wrong. I went to the chart, which carefully tells me exactly that the chart is going to finish 10 by 14. And I cut my linen only 13.5 by 18. So I didn't add 3 inches around. I added less than 2 on one direction.
Oh no.
And that's not even fair. What I cut was 12 by 14 or 12 by 18 and then realized, oh wait, that only adds 2 in each way. I really needed to do more. And it was too late. I already cut my back quarter in half. So this is Vicky Clayton silk laying on here because I'm, mid-stitch. And it's a very elaborate border. I guess I didn't pay attention. It just looks kind of like a normal kind of border on there. But it's got a lot of X's through the border before you hit more solid stitching. And so it's an interesting... I haven't started adding any other color yet. And I'm pretty sure I worked on this, like this is one cut of this color from Vicky Clayton. And I've probably done either 3 or 4 strands at this point. So, it's
like 200 stitches.
Yeah, probably so. Anyway, here are my silks. I separated them into just like hot and cool colors because I had these little, this is what my bobbins come in for my long arm. And I went, you know what, this will work for this
I love
shirt.
repurposing little containers like that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and here's my conversion stuck right in there from
Smart.
Vicky Clayton so that I would remember
So
what colors.
smart.
But when I load things like this in markup, see, I go into the key and I change the color name in the key to the Vicky Clayton name.
So that it's not gonna
So
confuse
I don't
you.
even have to look at the conversion once
awesome.
I've built it into markup. So that's very handy.
That is super handy.
So that's the birthday stitch that we've started for Karen's birthday. It's her big 60th birthday. So I always love when people celebrate a big birthday start.
That's awesome.
Okay, I still have more. Here we go. This is in a bag from my friend Carol. She's Fiber Antiquities on Etsy. I have many bags from her because I just love her. And this is Mary Finley. Mary Finley is by the Scarlet House. This was one that I ordered because I was ordering something from Kitten Stitcher and it couldn't travel alone, and it's an exclusive with Kitten Stitcher, and she had the fabulous linen from Mason Linens that's called for this chart. And so I pulled this out and gave it a good start. I'm stitching this with my friend Cheryl. And Cheryl and I were going to start this for Mother's Day. Cheryl, I already started it.
Sorry, Cheryl.
Because I always do. I even have on my tag that I started on May 10th, but today's the 8th, so guess what? I didn't.
That's a dirty
I
rotten
worked on it
lie.
during Spring Mingle, and I found it was actually a good thing to be working on. It's very repetitive. The Mason linen is easy to see and stitch on. It's a 40 count and it's NPI. And NPI is just delightful to stitch with. So I've got my NPI silks on floss drops and I've gotten that much of a start. So I will continue on with Mary Finley.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah, I really like it
It's
very
almost
much.
like olive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of is. It's called Button Box Medium Dark from Mason Linen, and that was my first piece of Mason Linen. I haven't had any of that, so that was super fun. Yeah. All right, I guess now we're just getting into the mania insania stuff, because besides Agnes Carnes and Mary Finley and my Sea Apple that I'd started and Beachcomber, then I'm going to have my Anniversaries of the Heart block 5, which is the May block. Now, I'm not taking this out of my hoop because I'm working on this thing, but you've seen my Anniversaries of the Heart. There's January and here's May underneath, and I was working on this morning. So this is on 46 count Sleeping Bear, and I'm using all the called for colors from Blackbird Designs. So this particular one is called Farmhouse. That's the May. I never finished Pink Hill Manor. So Pink Hill Manor's threads are still on my seam thread pull. And I've got both charts in my bag, and so my intention is to also take this one to Ocracoke because I will feel more rested if I could get home from Ocracoke with both May and April, and I will show you April because it's just held on. I don't know if you use these little magnet guys, but I love them. And I have to show you while I've got a hoop in my hand. Yeah, there's April. So see how I've got just a start on the bottom of the house, and you know, I just kind of ran out of steam on April. I might have done some other things, right? I was busy. So anyway, I'm going to try and finish April, but I was watching, was it Joe? It might have been Joe Florence, but somebody was showing on Instagram, and I'm going to show you from the back because I got to hold it, how to wrap your extra fabric around a hoop. And so she literally twists it.
Like doing a spiral braid.
Like doing a spiral braid all the way around, catching all those extra bits. And then on this side, she puts one hat pin, one large pin.
Just to hold it.
Just to hold it. Now I'll probably, what I like is honestly, because I'm right-handed, I can hold this with my left hand twisted and all that extra linen is out of the way and I can just stitch. And I do a lot of poke and stab on 46 count, more than sewing method. Sometimes I can sew, but most of the time I'm poking. So I loved this twist idea. I've been using it on my smaller hoop on a couple of other projects. Obviously, it does crinkle your linen around. But if you're working in a hoop, you're used to having to press your piece when you're done. I mean, you got to get all those hoop parts out.
Yeah.
So this was what I was working on this morning, and I am looking forward to making some more headway on April and May's block. You know, it's funny, I was talking with Carrie Tiger Lily, because of course I'm doing Anniversaries of the Heart with Carrie and Jessica, Sweetwater Stitcher. And I was talking to her about it, and she said on her last FlossTube that Anniversaries of the Heart was going to be the bane of her existence.
Oh, no.
Because she has fallen in love with all the animal crackers, and she's just been stitching incessant animal crackers. She's got a little cracker collection now.
That's great.
But I told her, I think I'm just taking the pressure off of myself to have it finished in 2025.
Right.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it's Bernadette from Burn Stitches, that she works on all of her Kathy Barrick, Carriage House, Hawker and Hollows. She works on the block that would be in that calendar month. And if she finishes it, great. And if she doesn't, she moves to the next block in the next calendar month and just knows she'll pick it up next year and work on April, you know? So if I don't finish April, I'm not going to keep dipping back to April over and over and over and, you know, like not move forward. I'm going to go ahead and do as much of May as I can, go ahead and start June in June, do as much of June as I can, go ahead and start July in July, do as much as I can. If I finish them, great. But if I don't finish Anniversaries of the Heart in 2025, then I'll just pick it back up in those months next year, or carry on with it and just work on what would be the April block, you know, the next month, and just work back through.
I think that's a kinder way to approach this kind of project.
This is a hobby, right?
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be something that's that burdensome. Okay, so my next start is called Love and Learning, and it's by Emily Call. And it's got this beautiful palette of DMCs. I love them. But I chose a darker ground fabric because I really wanted the light colors to show up, especially the these palest pinks and whites. And so I brightened up these 3 dull greens. I kept them on here just so you could see. They blended too much with my fabric, and so I switched them for brighter shades of green.
Significantly brighter.
Yeah, a lot brighter. But I love the way it's coming together. This is a pattern that came out last year I bought it last April, and then I never got a start on it. I've just had the PDF sitting in my stash. But I really like it a lot, and I felt called to begin it. It's called Love and Learning by Emily Call Stitching. It's just a beautiful little sampler. It has the alphabet and all these unique letters on top, and then I love that big pink house. And I'm going to stitch the whole thing because, you know, we homeschooled through high school here, and now my grandchildren are homeschooling. And it just, you know, a home of love and learning is really what I hope we have.
That's right.
And so I got a nice start through the letter F. And I'm
so
gonna,
sweet.
and I love the bright colors.
I prefer this bright green bee to the one on here. Like,
Yeah.
I really love your
Well,
conversion.
I got started on that bee, and that's really when I went, oh, that's not gonna work. So this is 40 count Old Stationery by Seraphim. And so it's just got that dark brown. It actually reminds me a lot of the Cactus Wren that everyone's buying from Fox and Rabbit right now. Old Stationery is one of those fabrics, though, that I've bought 3 times, and they're 3 totally different colors. And I wish I had bought it like 3 more times so that I would have chosen a better ground for a different project that I have.
Sure.
It called for Old Stationery. I bought Old Stationery. I used Old Stationery. And the whole time I was like, this looks nothing like the picture. You know, sometimes these fabrics just don't dye a lot the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, this was another piece that I had bought from Hobby House, and I just decided it was time to cut into it and use it. I like it very much.
It's beautiful.
I'm always adding linens to my stash, and then I'm always just pulling from my stash. So that's kind of the way I manage fabric. I almost never want to have to wait for fabric to arrive to be able to start something.
Right.
I want to be
Because that feels
able.
detrimental to the creative process.
Right.
You've got that energy to start it now, so you have to have
Well,
all
and
the materials on
we
hand to
do not
start.
live close to an LNS.
No, we
We're
do
3
not.
hours away from the closest, you know, place where I could go and look at fabric in person. So it's the easier method for me is just to order linen when I see colors available that I've seen on FlossTube, or I, you know, have heard about, or I know they're called for in some projects. And so I just order pieces of them, and then they're there in my stash when I'm ready to pull them out. I think I've just got one, no, maybe 2 more. This is my latest. Well, it would be my latest, and then I started something else. This is Helen Monroe. Okay, but Helen deserves her own story, so I'm going to pull her cover sheet out so you can see it. Helen Monroe is the new chart that just came out this week from Whilst Iris Naps. And everyone needs to watch, whether you're going to stitch Helen Monroe or not. You need to go watch Christina's video where she talks about Helen Monroe and tells Helen's story. It is phenomenal. And I mean, it's just, the connection is so cool. I told the story, just repeated it to my 13-year-old granddaughter, Gingersnap. And you just watch the firing in her brain of all the ideas about that. And she immediately said, I need to write a story about a girl and her needlework. I need to be able to tell the story of one of these girls. And I said, well, before you go make something up, let me let you read a few real stories. And so I pulled out every one of the Hands Across the Sea charts that I have that have explanations, I guess I don't have to put that away yet, of, you know, who the girl was and what time period she lived in. And it was so great. She read every one cover to cover. I don't think Gingersnap is wanting to create her own sampler. But she's really fascinated by the idea of putting herself in a historical time period and figuring out, you know, what the day in the life would have been like for a girl her age in that time period, and then what would be some of her reasons behind stitching, what would call her to stitch. And she keeps coming downstairs with new ideas. You know, Grams, I think this will be her second sampler, because her first sampler was just a marking sampler, but her second sampler gives her a chance to really show off her talent. And, you know, anyway, it's adorable. And I'm so glad that she's enjoying that idea. I only got a tiny little start on Helen. I am going to stitch Helen on the called for fabric, which is Dolly Madison by Needle and Flax.
Wow.
I had a yard because in 2022, before I was even stitching on 40 count, it was still pandemic times. Like, we couldn't get anything. And I hadn't been to a cross-stitch shop yet.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I was watching Brenda and Laura, and they said Rachel was taking pre-orders for a few of her colors, and they said if I could only buy 2, I would get Brea and Dolly Madison. Those were the colors that she was working on right then. And so, you know, I'm a quilter, and I'm used to paying top dollar for high quality quilting fabric. But top dollar for high quality quilting fabric is about $13 to $15 a yard. I happily pay that. It can go up to $18 a yard. I'll pay it. Yesterday I was in the quilt shop, and my quilt shop owner said, you know, these are all my sale fabrics. If it's yellow, it's $8.99. If it's orange, it's $7.99. If it's, and I said, you know me, I'm your dream customer. I don't care how much they are a yard. If I want the fabric, I'm going to buy it. Okay? That's who I am. And she laughed, you know. But honestly, linen is $110 a yard. And it really took something in my soul to go, I can do that. I can do that. I can order it. Yes. So I ordered a yard of Dolly Madison and a yard of Brea. What I remember is that they came in May. Like, I think I ordered them in January or February, and they arrived in May. And, you know, because, I mean, Rachel's a one-woman shop. She's going to dye this stuff.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's fine.
It's a process.
There was no hurry because I wasn't even stitching on 40 count yet. They arrived, and I went, ooh, ah, ooh, and I tucked them away. And Dolly Madison had never even been cut into at all. Not at all. And so yesterday, or day before yesterday, was the first time I had ever cut it. And I literally, I just went, oh, cool. I cut it in half. I cut it in fourth. You know, like, I have a half yard and a quarter yard waiting on me. Here's a quarter. And then, you know, I read the instructions and realized I really could have cut it a little shorter than this. I'm going to have a little extra. And I'm holding this upside down, by the way, because I gave myself a lower right start on this one just to mix it up.
Sure.
That's another thing I like to do when I'm doing so many samplers at the same time.
Start in different places.
Pick them up in a different spot. I learned that from Samantha, the Huga stitcher, because that's the way she does with her Mirabilias or whatever it is she starts. Okay, so we had a slight interruption, but that was Helen Monroe.
Yes.
And she's a beautiful chart. And if you haven't yet, go watch Christina's FlossTube about Helen Monroe. Buy it. Plan on stitching it with me. I'm definitely going to be working on it over the next few months with everything else.
If you decide that you are going to stitch it with her, let us know so that we can do like a little hashtag on Instagram. We can all stitch it together.
Yeah. Okay, so here's one I actually still have twisted, like I just showed you. And I have it, it's a small thing, but I have it with my Magnadot. Because this frame is magnetic right there, I just have it held with my my needle minder.
Nice.
So this is a wonderful start. And I'm going to pull my needle minder off and open it up because I love this so much and it's going so fast. So this came in the mail yesterday.
Yesterday? And you've got all that done?
It is Blessed Are the Merciful. And that's how wide it's going to be. So it's coming down now. Blessed are the merciful. It is a new chart from my Dying to Stitch club kit that arrived in the mail. It's by Sampler Bird Stitchery. It's a beautiful sampler. The colors are so lovely. And Dying to Stitch sent it to me all kitted with the colors that I need for the chart, and then 3 full skeins for the main, you know, the border colors and leaves. And then there's a satin stitched border of parchment on this French vanilla, so it'll be invisible. You will have done satin stitches just for the joy of doing satin stitches, but they show up. Do they bring you joy? I'm not sure. We'll see.
That's very real.
If I fight them, we'll see.
Very relatable.
But it's this whole satin stitch here. I'll show you. Look, there's the whole satin stitch border inside here.
Ooh,
isn't that pretty?
It's very pretty.
So we'll see.
I kind of like that it's almost invisible.
I
like
do too.
It just gives a little bit of texture there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just inside this, you know, colorful border that's going to have all these pink strawberries. There's this creamy parchment colored satin stitch sawtooth border. So I started this the moment it arrived at my house. I went, you know what? I'm starting that one too. It made number 8 for the month of March, but
May.
why? I mean, yes, that's right, May.
May. Mm-hmm.
It's still May. Mania Insania. And so I just...
What I think is really funny is I look away for a moment, and when I look back, you've got a guilty look, and I'll say, what's wrong? What happened? Oh, are you starting something new? Yes, that's exactly what happened. She started another new project.
She says, you didn't start another project, did you? And I'm like, why? What'd you hear? I mean, so?
Who snitched?
So? Why not? Okay, the rest of the story is, and I love this, and this was not on my radar. I mean, I think this is my favorite way to create. I like going the direction the wind blows. Like just, oh yeah, I'll work on that one for a little while.
Whichever way the wind lies.
Yes, exactly. And so, yeah, I'm just working on whatever calls to me. I already have a few other things waiting on me to start. This folder is full of projects, honestly. I was lucky enough to land one of Rika's folders and big portfolio bag. Here, I'll grab it.
It's massive.
Look at this bag.
Oh
Look,
my gosh.
look how big it is. I mean, compared to a standard size.
I love that it has a handle. It's so big.
Yeah.
It requires a handle
So
on the
compared
top.
to the standard size bag, which I already have big bags. I don't use small ones. So,
and yet-
but yeah, see how much bigger it is? So this is from Rika, House of Stitch and Stash. I have some of my other haul tucked in it because it's such a big. It's beautiful.
So gorgeous.
Rika did a gorgeous job with it. So I loved that fabric. It's very beachy. And so I will carry some things with me. And that's what this is then. Her portfolio's got the thread bed and it's got the clear vinyl pocket. But in here, I put my night garden threads. Those are the ones, the set that were 20-yard skeins of 4 colors. And then there are several
from Market. Right? Yeah.
From Market. And then there are several charts
By different designers using the same color palette.
That's right. So I have Luna from Annie B's.
Which is a sweet little fairy.
And it's a free chart, so I can't show you the chart. And I have the Blue Flowers, irises.
Yeah, irises
that
are my
I'm
favorite.
really excited to work on. And then I have Fox and Rabbits.
Which actually has a stitched model.
They bloom at night. So that one that I'm looking forward to doing as well. So, so I have those 3 that I've got tucked in here with a piece of Color and Cotton green tea that I thought it's really a gray green. And I thought it looked really nice with the palette. I liked the brighter green on it, and I liked the way the beige was going to be on it. So anyway, I think this is a good piece to have for some of these smaller you know, if I want to start one because I don't have anything else to do, I've got them tucked.
When will you not have anything else to do?
I'll have that tucked in there, you know, in case I want to. And then the other thing that I have
Squirrel.
tucked in here is my hydrangea kit that I saw.
It comes with everything.
It comes with everything.
Oh,
Nicole
that's great.
Spore had just finished the stitching on hers, and she's probably going to finish her little pillow this week. A lot of people are making this one right now. And I have the other two for market as well, but I just tucked, this is the one I want to work on first. So I just tucked this one kit in here so that I could start it. So that means this folder has got 4 projects in it already. But there's room if I wanted to put another couple.
And it's ready to go to the island with us.
And it's ready to go. So it's going with me and my Tiger Lily portfolio, and then probably my bag that's got my Anniversaries of the Heart.
Right.
And I think those are the 3. I may take Sparrow, his eyes on the Sparrow, because that's comfort stitching for me. It's on 36 count, dirty teacup, and I can do a motif at a time. And it just, you know, I always want to make progress on it. So I might bring that. And now I'm up to haul.
Yes.
How about you?
Let's hit haul.
Okay. So I ordered a bunch of floss from Color and Cotton. They had their gradient pack that they call Wisteria. That was all the purples.
We had gorgeous wisteria this year in Eastern North Carolina.
We did. It was everywhere, and my granddaughters were fixated on it.
Your son-in-law too.
Yes,
all of them.
everywhere they saw it. Look, wisteria. Oh, more
There's more
wisteria.
wisteria.
There's more. It's all about the color Mallory shirt.
Yep.
Actually, it was
Beautiful.
just beautiful. And then this one's called Spring Flowers, and I thought it was a great palette to have around. This one's North Sea. I love those. And this one was A Rainy Morning in Edinburgh. And what in the world?
Honestly, though,
Right? I
that's
mean,
fantastic.
and while I was ordering flosses like that, they had these linen grab bags. And I had never done that before. But it's 3 8x12 pieces.
So real small, but nice for like an ornament?
Yes, well, those night garden pieces would fit on here. So I'm going to stick these 3 pieces in with my green tea.
What's the thread count?
These are all, I want to say they're all 36. I'm not actually sure. I'd probably have to check.
Oh, okay.
They're probably 36. They might be 40. I don't know. I'll have to look.
Okay.
But I mean, they're big enough to get, I think, one of those small pieces done.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Lovely.
I thought that was a neat way. I wish you did know what colors they were.
Yeah.
But Color and Cotton doesn't often have, you have to pre-order. If you want to order linen from them, they open the pre-orders about 5 or 6 weeks in advance of when they can send them to you. So when the pre-orders open for a color, you just order what count and color you want, and then they close it again, and then they dye all that, and they ship it, and then they open up more pre-orders.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so you can pick, you know, whether you want to order or not.
Awesome.
So I got all those.
Ooh, are you going to show your cute little bento?
I am going to show it. So then Karen Combs was showing on her video this week. This is a bento box. I'm going to put the lid on so you can see. This is a bento box. It's wooden, and it is, you know, like a Japanese person would take their lunch to work in this wooden box. And it's such a nice size. I actually love stitching with a tiny hoop. So I have my tiny hoop in here and a pair of Kohanas and my eyeglasses. And that is enough. I have extra needles as well. That is enough to sit next to my chair and be ready to stitch. I also, because I didn't know what size I would want, I also ordered the round box, and I love it. I think I'm going to take my Teresa Kogut Santa wreath.
Ooh, and finish it at the top?
And let it be on top, and then I can do this box as a Christmas box.
If you need somebody to do that for you, just
That's what I was thinking. So these come with like a little wooden divider so that you could have your food in there. You know, it's a bento box, so you're supposed to be able to put your
Rice
seaweed and your rice and your chicken all separate from each other. But I don't think I'll use these at all. I'll just use the box as the little round. But it was very affordable. It was very affordable. I got it from Amazon, and I just like that they're a nice dark wood.
Yes.
So
I like the color of this one. They both are beautiful, but
Right.
I really like the darker wood.
I like the darker color too. Yeah. So anyway, I was very pleased with those.
And
I
who
just
suggested this?
Karen Combs on
Okay.
her FlossTube. Yeah. So she had bought one that was a double stack one. That
nice.
the top piece made the lid for the bottom piece. But I thought, see, I'm not very organized, and I would constantly be moving the top half to get to what's in the bottom half if I did that. And I liked that these sit, let's see, the round one doesn't do that.
Oh, it doesn't sit into its lid like the top one.
So
like the other
that's
one.
interesting.
Oval does.
But the oval one does a good job. Like it, you know, I can sit it right in its lid. So think about that. They're not large. I mean, I hope you can see. It's just like 2 hands. They have measurements in centimeters, which means none of us will know what it means. They are 18 by 13 by 6.2 centimeters. So and this is how they come. I actually bought too many, but I have a friend, so it's fine, believe it or not. But so they come, you know, all wrapped up, nicely covered, and in a little wooden box from Amazon. I mean, in a little cardboard box. And they have a strap. The round one did not have a strap. The oval one actually
just an
has
elastic.
an elastic strap
To hold the lid
to hold,
on.
yeah, so that you could drop it down in a bag with the lid side. Anyway, like that. That's the idea. And that is pretty nice. Mine's not making a lot of noise because what I was able to do is put that crocheted little bear face that Mallory made for my eyeglasses, and it just fit in the bottom. So that's helpful.
It muffles the noise a little bit.
Yeah.
Keeps it from rattling.
But so those were my purchases this time. I probably had some other things, but the month went by so fast that I didn't do a good job of sitting it all off to the side.
Well, I just have some ideas for what I'm planning to do going forward.
Okay,
I've
let's
got
talk
these-
about plans.
These lovely flosses that I'm planning to make into cord, and they're going to go on the border for my crow librarian.
Oh, that'll be great. I love that orangey and purple
Right?
together. Those are great.
I took the children with me and stood them in front of the DMC flosses and said, here are all the ones that go with this crow librarian. You each pick one. And so Gumdrop picked the purple and Gingersnap picked the orange. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah,
Done.
That'll look very festive on the edge.
Absolutely. I also wanted to show that Hope Song, you had the entire finishing kit
I know.
for.
Yeah, see, I even got from the boardroom, I had ordered the finishing kit. So when she finishes Hope Song, which will be for her 36th birthday piece, then she'll actually be able to mount it and have the Lady Dot trim and all that.
I'm excited for that because this is a really gorgeous board.
Yeah. So Beth's husband, Matt,
Right.
makes those.
Cuts these out in his wood shop. Yeah.
He does a lot. I have several of his bobbins and the bobbin stand and everything. So
I had one more thing.
okay, go ahead.
So I kind of missed Star Wars Day this year.
Oh, I know.
I
we
was
were
terribly
sad.
ill.
It wasn't. Yeah.
But
it
May
wasn't a good
4th,
day.
typically known as Star Wars Day because May the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
Yes. Was still, I tried to have some fun even despite the fact that I was feeling so sick. We watched one of the Star Wars movies, and I had found when I was digging through my craft closet a Trapper Keeper with several folders in it, one of which is full of graph paper charts that I hand drew that are all Star Wars themed.
Oh, that's fun.
So I have just where I had ideas and I just drew them like Who's Your Daddy with a Vader.
Oh, sure.
I did a whole series. I called it Mod Wars and Modernized Star Wars, and I made my own chart of Han and Leia and lots of sayings, who you calling scruffy looking, let the Wookiee win. Anyway, so I just found this, and I had dated it. They're from 2014 when I originally drew all of these.
Oh, that's fun.
And I just wanted to share them because Star Wars Day. It's come and gone now. But they're so fun. And I did go ahead and convert a couple of them over with Floss Cross so that if you're interested, I have a Han version that says, not that one. I don't know, Fly Casual and Laugh It Up Fuzzball. I've got one of those each.
Yes.
And then I have a Leia one that says, somebody has to save our skins.
Yes, I actually posted them onto our Instagram. So you can go look at Stitching on Island Time on Instagram and see the charts that she's done.
But this is hilarious to me because this is how I used to do my charts, is I would just take graph paper, do the math,
Yep.
hand draw it, and then stitch.
Isn't that great?
Yep. So this was a fun find for me. I think that they all need to be converted over into Floss Cross, but that's going to take a little bit more time than I wanted to spend on the day of Star Wars Day.
Sure. And you weren't feeling well at all.
I couldn't turn my head without getting dizzy, and so being able to just sit in front of the computer stationary and just click and color things in, I could do that. So
That's great.
yep, but it's come and gone again.
Well, so I still have planned to start later this month a daily reminder from With Thy Needle and Thread. I have that kitted and ready to go. I have that night garden and the hydrangea kit that I'm going to take with me to Ocracoke. I'll probably start maybe all 4 of those things. Maybe I'll finish one of them. Who knows? We'll see. I have a feeling we'll be spending a lot of time at the beach and walking around, eating ice cream, and might not get as much stitching done as I think I'm going to get done with a week on the island, but that's okay.
We'll see. If the weather turns bad and we have to be inside for any significant amount of time.
Sure. Last year we did a puzzle as a family.
Oh my gosh.
It made us all insane. Like, it was good and it was horrible.
My youngest Gumdrop, when we were doing a puzzle earlier this season, just flowers. We've been studying flowers and science. We were working on this puzzle together and Gumdrop says, man, working on this puzzle really makes me think of Ocracoke. And I said, oh, from the last puzzle. And they go, yeah, that was awful.
I know. None of us enjoyed it, and yet we could not stop until it was done.
It had to get done. We had to finish it.
We're not jigsaw people. We're just not.
I mean, we kind of are.
It wears on our soul, though. Like, we do it, and afterwards we're like, that was awful. Like, we just passed, 100 hours of,
I've learned not to give puzzles to mom or dad as gifts, though.
No, because we can't sleep until they're complete.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
I didn't know that, or I wouldn't have done it to you.
We bought, because we were doing that puzzle, we thought, well, let's get Ocracoke puzzles, because that will be something we can do when we get home, and we're missing the island. We have not unwrapped them.
They're still in shrink wrap.
They're still in shrink, because we know if we open them, then we cannot stop until they're complete.
We're going to have to do a puzzle.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, anyway, bad idea. So, coming up then in May, I'm going to continue with Mania. I have no idea how many more things I'll start. But, at some point, I'm going to settle down and just work on samplers, because I think I'm going to do sampler summer. Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, has alluded to the fact that she's going to do a sampler summer. I started listing all my samplers, and if I include the samplers that are just samplers, like that Love and Learning by Emily Call, it's considered a sampler, but it's not a reproduction sampler. It's just pretty, right? And it's got the alphabet, and it's a sampler. If I included those, I have too many, because I probably have closer to 30, and that's too many. But if I only work on samplers that have a girl's name associated with them, I have 15.
Which is doable.
That's very doable. That's if I start the beginning of June and go through the end of September, that's about 18 weeks. So that's plenty of time to give plenty of time, at least a week-ish,
to your plethora of
each
girls.
one. Right. So I think, because I enjoyed Springo so much, I think what I've decided I'm going to do is assign a number to each chart and do a random number draw and work on whatever the random number gives me Although Jessie Marie made a point in her last video where she said the random number generators do not favor the extremes.
Right.
So if whichever charts get numbered 1 and 2 and whichever ones get numbered 14 and 15 may just know they're going to get worked on the least.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So what I might do to fight that is I may number my charts 10 through 25 and set my random number generator on 1 through 40. And then just work as
And if you get an extreme, what do you treat it as? Like bonus you get to pick, or?
No, I'll just spin again.
Oh, okay.
So that way I'm overcoming the computer. I'm treating it like it works for me instead of I work for it.
That's right.
Yes. So anyway, I think that's my plan because remember I'm a statistician, so I know how to make these things work. And I have a lovely list. I actually listed them all out on my Instagram. So if you want to go see some of the names of the charts that I have. What was most interesting to me was that I made myself a list of how much I have done on each of these charts. And really, the only ones that have seen any significant progress are Sarah Stewart Hardman, which I work on every time I watch Jessica the Sweetwater Stitcher's FlossTube. So it continues to get about an hour a week, which is really great, whether I work on it other times or not. And I have worked on it some other times. That one I've made progress on. And then the other one that I have made a little bit of progress on is Mary Gibson, but Mary Gibson is so large that even the work that I've done is a small percentage of her chart. So all the other ones that I have are small starts. And then I have several new starts that are named samplers that I had fully kitted. So I'm going to save those closer to Sampler September, I think. I think I'll continue to work on the whips and then work my way toward the ones that are new starts. Unless I start them in May in Mania and then they become whips, so it's fine.
Mania? Insania.
That's right. I'm going for it. So, whew, okay. Well, now I think you see why we decided to do this today instead of
Bringing all this to the island.
That's right. So I had fun with Spring Go. I really enjoyed that.
Spring Mingle was fun too.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Spring Mingle. That was so
much fun.
I ordered several things. I got both the bird charts and I fully kitted the bluebird one from Max Pigeon, but I haven't kitted the second one yet, I don't think. I can't remember.
I think I finished Fungi Garden because of Spring Mingle, because that was my in-hand stitch that I was working on as we were popping into chat rooms, meeting people.
Yeah, it's why I went ahead and started Mary Finley.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I, was sitting here stitching, might as well work on it. I worked on Sea Apple. I worked on...
Might as well.
Yeah.
We saw a bunch of friendly faces and people that we love.
That was fun.
We don't
and
get to
I
see as
enjoyed
often
the
as we want.
class. I did take the class with Kathy Haberman. I have not done any of the stitching. I didn't start this Bee's Got Me's at all.
And it's a beautiful chart. I wouldn't mind stitching that one.
Yeah, it's very cute. I just didn't get to it. But I did love her bonus. The daisy is my favorite flower.
And that one's so cute.
And the Oopsie Daisy chart was so precious. And it makes a tiny little pincushion. And my anniversary is coming up while we're on the island, and I carried daisies in my wedding. So if my periwinkle fabric that I ordered comes, then I might have to kit Oopsie Daisy and take that with.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be super fun.
That'd be great. So, all right.
Our community is the best. That's
Yes.
never more evident than when we get to sit and actually talk to other stitchers all around the world. It is obvious that stitchers are just the best kinds of people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have the best community.
It is.
All of the communities.
Yeah.
And we love you guys so much. Thank you for sticking it out with us all the way to the end of the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to ring the bell so that you'll know the next time we have another update, which should be right after we get back from the island, probably.
Yeah, I think we'll probably, May will be a weird month for us because we'll post twice. We'll have another one toward the end of the month so you can see how much more mania. You know, I didn't talk about this month's whip goes. I am definitely going to work on some of those. So
That's right.
yeah,
This way we're breaking it up a little bit for you.
that's right.
Take a break, go get something to drink. We love you.
That's right. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Call my husband. And of course, when I picked it up, this little guy popped out. So give me just a second. I at least have tape down in here so that it slides in easily.
Yeah, it just says 3 weeks ago. Why is there no date? All right. I like that guy. You got something else, or should I keep going?
Go for it.
Okay. Tragically, I have plenty to show. I don't know how tragic that is. Do this without shooting the elastic across the room.
That's going to be the challenge.
There we go. I did it. Oh, sort of. Goes all the way off the other. Excuse me. I'm going to just keep my FlossTube history close by in case I have to glance to remind myself of something.
I didn't know we were going to have a history lesson.
Oh, it's always something around here. Here's you a pencil, because I
you.
have another one.
My very own pencil.
Yes.
Thank you.
Your favorite kind.
Have we thought about what the title of the show is going to be? Just Spring on Island Time?
That's what I put, but because of Springo. But what, when did we film last? Do you remember?
Did I write it down? Nope.
Okay.
Did not write it down.
And I don't have it. Oh, I have March 21st, but we had, the last one was called April Deluge.
Yes, we had an April one.
So
where
we
filmed.
definitely filmed. I had already started Ann Hunt, but I had not fallen into the Ann Hunt.
Bunny hole.
Yeah, just fixation. All right. Well, here. That's another thing we can look at FlossTube for, right?
That's true. Looking ourselves up on FlossTube, though, that's a little surreal.
It was
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. That's not what I want to do. I wanted to see an actual date. Yeah, it just says 3 weeks ago. Why is there no date? All right. I like that guy.
I was jamming.
I know. He's awesome. All right. 3 weeks.
But 3 weeks ago.
All right. Puts us.
We can do math.
Sometime in the middle of April. I know I had started Springo.
Yes, because
and
we talked
about
it.
Springo.
Yes.
So yeah. All right. I think I'm back in state now.
Good.
Let's see about getting started. You going to introduce us today?
I would love to.
Okay. I think it'll be fine.
I will call my husband when we're finished.
Okay. That's
He
fine.
knew that we were filming this morning.
That's right.
I think he just forgot.
It's fine.